Part 43. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 421. The door is closed. Soon, angry shouts echoed from the next room. The neighbor next door was obviously not that cooperative. After the roar continued for half a minute, he heard the sound of fists hitting bones and flesh. The neighbor was beaten several times and then the door was closed. The roar disappeared. What is the origin of this man with light yellow hair? Dare you rush into someone's room so arrogantly and search openly? Does Golden Island just condone people with blonde hair and bully guests? Will there be any customers willing to go to Golden Island in the future? Nolan squinted his eyes, pointed the badge at the ceiling light, and observed the badge from all angles. Brother, guess how important this thing is. John Killen said nothing. This badge must be particularly important. The man with the fair hair said that if he could not be found, a whole boatload of people would be buried with him. It's just plain harsh words. Or would you really do that? Asterisk. Chen Ling stared at John Killen's message for a long time. Target person not found successfully went to the island with others. This person is suspected to be your former friend. He has blonde hair and blue eyes, thick hair, high cheekbones, the bridge of his nose has been broken more than twice, and there are 3 moles on his right cheek that are connected at an obtuse angle. He is about 188 centimeters tall and is accustomed to weakening /t/n/d/ to a soft tone when pronouncing words. There were a large number of prisoners on the island. We caused an explosion on the island. The prisoners took advantage of the chaos to leave the island and fled to the northeastern sea by boat. Also, the power behind the auction is hard to estimate. A reliable person has been entrusted to check whether there are any traces of activities of relevant persons in the country. All is well so far. Don't reply. Blonde, blue eyes, broken nose. The speaking habit is to weaken /t/n/d/ to a soft tone when pronouncing it, typical American California speaking habit. Combined with several other points, Chen Ling was almost certain that the person who accidentally paired up with John Killen was none other than Nolan, the current captain of the H Rangers. What a coincidence. Also, why did Nolan go to Golden Island? And why are you accompanying John Killen? Why did the two of them want to cause trouble on Golden Island again? With the trouble on Golden Island, Nolan's mission will definitely not be completed. Etc. A flash of lightning flashed across Chen Ling's mind. Maybe Nolan's mission is a conspiracy or a trap. Once it's done, Nolan will be executed instead. Chen Ling nodded and continued his analysis. As for the reliable person Brother Lan mentioned, he must be referring to Jiang's father. In the message sent to himself, there was no specific instruction to be conveyed to Jiang's father, which means that Brother Lan also sent a message to his father. It is estimated that Father Jiang will call him soon. As soon as this thought crossed her mind, her phone rang. It's a landline phone number. Hey, Xiaoling, am I not disturbing your rest at this late hour? It turned out to be Father Jiang. Hello, Uncle Jiang. I haven't rested yet, have you also received his message? Chen Ling asked. Father Jiang said, yes. He asked me to check if there are any rich and powerful people around the Caribbean at the moment. Well, do you have any other requests? No, but his words were concise and he didn't let me reply to the message. Father Jiang was a little worried. Who is the other person? With his keen sense of experience in the military and political circles for many years, he realized that the enemy this time was powerful and hidden. Uncle Jiang, do you know the cake theory? The world is one piece of cake. Everyone is fighting for the cake. If someone becomes stronger and gets more cake, then someone's cake will inevitably get less. People who have less cake will try their best to get back the cake that belongs to them. The same is true between countries. Xiaoling, you mean that someone wants to curb the development of our country? Yes, Uncle Jiang. The enemy may have penetrated into our ranks. I think Mu Yingdi's drug trafficking line, foreign companies' humiliation line of China, celebrity idols corrupting young people's ideological line, and many other unfavorable directions in online public opinion, it should all be their work. Are they? Jiang's father asked. My guess at the moment is that it's the Unionist Society, Chen Ling said. Is there anyone out there trying to get Maz Hekan out now? Not yet. Thank you, Uncle Jiang. Keep an eye on Maz Hekan, be careful of him jumping over the wall and killing people in prison, Chen Ling reminded. Okay. I'll make arrangements now. After hanging up the phone, Chen Ling still felt uneasy. She opened her foldable computer and checked the online social networking sites of country Y. Emergency situation. An unknown explosion occurred on a small island near the waters of country Y. Attached picture, you can see the flames soaring into the sky across the sea. Video, listen, lots of explosions. Is there going to be a war? Can't peace last for 100 years? Inside information, that island is a private island owned by a rich man. There's a party going on. The explosion was caused by a malfunction of a diesel generator on the island. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 422. Chen Ling glanced at it casually, and then the page she was browsing froze for a moment. Then it kept spinning in a small circle and couldn't be opened. Chen Ling refreshed the interface, but all the information about the explosion of gold that she had seen before was gone. Someone has blocked this entry. Chen Ling didn't pursue it further. There are more important things to solve. John Killen mentioned the prisoner's escape from the island in the text message. He not only clearly stated the way the prisoners escaped, but also clearly mentioned the direction of the prisoner's escape. Brother Lan didn't tell his father about this. There must be a reason why Jiang's father couldn't show up. Brother Lan didn't say that he asked the rescue team for help, so there is only one possibility. Brother Lan is worried that the rescue team has infiltrated the power of the Heji Society. Chen Ling opened the map and locked the location of the Golden Island. Brother Lan said, they escaped by boat. Then they must not be able to run far. Golden Island is in chaos at the moment. Once everything is settled, people will definitely be sent to chase the prisoners. Can't let Brother Ian's painstaking rescue go to waste. Let her help these people. Asterisk. On the beach of Cuba Tidal Beach Commercial Resort, the old gypsy lady, Saya, is enjoying an evening beach barbecue. She likes the smell of the wind and the feeling of the wind blowing on her face. Although, these winds are not as strong and refreshing as the wind driven by fast cars. She grabbed the draft beer, took a big sip, and breathed a comfortable ha. This is the most pleasant moment of her day. She also hates people disturbing her most pleasant moment. Some people are blind. A young male voice sounded beside her. Saya, someone is calling you. Saya came out at once. This is the 8-year-old son of the owner of the beach beverage kiosk. Saya has many strange habits. For example, she doesn't like to use mobile phones. Although there are mobile phones for the blind, she still refuses. She thinks that kind of thing must be inhabited by evil souls. If you keep this kind of thing around, your soul will be eroded by evil spirits. Hearing that someone is looking for you, Saya is indifferent. Saya fumbled to grab the knife and fork, and accurately cut a piece of the juicy roast beef on the plate, put it in her mouth, and tasted it slowly. Saya. Saya put the fork on the plate with force, and said fiercely, "Kid, has anyone told you not to disturb the weird Saya when she is eating?" The boy was startled and trembling. That person said that as long as you say her name, you will definitely answer the phone. Saya raised her head and laughed, and the wrinkles on her face were like sharp blades. Saya, haven't met such a self-righteous idiot for many years. The boy was also brave. He was so scared that he was about to cry, but he still insisted on conveying the words completely. She said that she is your good friend, a person who likes to drive fast. Saya's laughter stopped abruptly. Then, she pushed the beach stool hard and stood up. The knife and fork fell to the ground and the beer spilled, but she didn't care. Sia raised her right hand, her tone was anxious. Boy, come here, hold me, I'll answer the phone. She walked very fast, as if the other party was a very impatient person, and if she answered the phone late, the other party would hang up. Sia's eyes flashed with longing and excitement. Has this heartless and cold-blooded girl finally remembered her old bones? She hasn't taken me to drive fast for a long time. Hello, Sia said. Chen Ling couldn't help but bend the corners of her lips slightly. It's been a long time since she heard Sia's voice. Saya, do you remember me? Chen Ling imitated the voice she used to have. Blind people can't see, so their other senses will be extremely sharp. Especially hearing. Sia's ear was close to the microphone. Why is your voice different from before? Chen Ling had a headache. At this time, she had to prove her identity. The first time we met, the table next to us was eating grilled lamb chops. Chen Ling said. You don't need to prove it to me, I can tell. You are you, Sia said. Chen Ling was very grateful. Gypsies often seem to have magic powers. Chen Ling spoke quickly. Sia, I have a very urgent and important matter now, I want to ask you for help. No help, Sia interrupted her. Chen Ling was stunned. Ah. Sia said angrily, how long have you not come to see me? They drive fast and can't bring up the wind. I'm almost fed up with it. Chen Ling laughed, I promise you, I will find you as soon as possible and take you for a drive, okay? But right now, it's really a matter of life and death. Sia insisted, no, you have to promise me. When can you come to me? Give me a specific date. Chen Ling quickly calculated in her mind that if nothing unexpected happened, her play would be finished in about 3 months. Moreover, even if it was not finished by then, she could take 3 or 4 days off. So she said, 100 days. Saya muttered, such a long time, is today the first day, or tomorrow the first day? Chen Ling laughed, today is the first day. Saya was satisfied, okay, tell me, who do you want me to help you save? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 423. Who to save? Sia, you should ask how many people need to be saved. Chen Ling smiled. Saya paused for a second, and then she asked in a rough voice, how many people do you plan to let me, a blind old man, save? I don't know the exact number of people, but it's probably 100 or 200 people. So, you need to prepare a larger boat. Saya covered her chest, how many people? You are forcing me to go to heaven after death. Then, she prayed exaggeratedly, oh, Satan, Satan, someone is trying to break us up. Chen Ling interrupted her lightly, a box of Belinda cigars, 12 bottles of red wine from the best vintage of the French Chateau Mouton, 3 barbecues cooked by me, plus a 1,000-kilometer drive. How about this deal? Where are those poor people? Saya immediately became extremely serious, time is money and life, my friend. Asterisk. Somewhere in the Caribbean. Golden Island has been left far behind. They have been rowing hard for 3 hours on the vast sea. Under the hot sun, rowing with all their strength, and not eating any water or rice for 2 days, the physical fitness of this group of people was close to the limit. Su Jingyu licked his chapped and bleeding lips and wrapped the rope around his right shoulder. Their motorboat completely ran out of power. He and Lu Kai had to abandon the motorboat and transfer to other ships. But there were a lot of tools on the motorboat, and the two of them took them apart and took them. Lukai even broke off the two reflectors of the motorboat. "Everyone rest where you are," Su Jingyu shouted. His voice was as rough and hoarse as gravel, and every word he spoke was like a saw pulling at his throat. "Brother Su, let me go down and catch some fish," Lukai said. Lukai has a better voice than him. After all, he didn't shout the whole time like him. Su Jingyu nodded. Drifting boats on the calm sea. Su Jingyu commanded Lukai and a few others with good water skills to catch several big fish. Lukai used a folding knife to break the fish into small pieces. In this special period, no one cares about hygiene, and no one cares about whether it is cold or not. They put fish with blood in their mouths with their eyes closed. Maybe he was very hungry, but the raw fish had a fresh and sweet taste when he ate it. After eating something, everyone felt energetic. After a short rest, the fleet continues to set off. Lukai and Su Jingyu boarded two boats respectively, but the two boats were very close to each other. In the afternoon in the Caribbean, the sun is so scorching that it makes people dizzy, their mouths are dry, and the sweat on their bodies sticks to their bodies, which is particularly uncomfortable. Although fish meat contains some water, it is completely unable to make up for the water they lose. People lost their initial excitement and became increasingly silent. On the sea, there was only the sound of paddles stirring the water. The sound of water makes people thirsty even more. Not only does sea water not quench your thirst, it can also make you thirstier. There is little hope of getting fresh water at sea. Many people have already experienced mild symptoms of dehydration. Su Jingyu wiped the sweat from his forehead and identified the direction again. As far as the eye can see, there is still no trace of any island. People's palms were blistered by the oars. Due to lack of water, exposure to the sun, and strong mental pressure, they could hardly bear it. Now, it's all about persistence. No one questioned Su Jingyu, but he was under great pressure. He was not only worried about the pursuit of soldiers from behind, but also worried that some people would be unable to hold on and faint from lack of water. He was even more uncertain whether he could find the island in time and find fresh water before more people suffered from dehydration and heat stroke. I paddled for an unknown amount of time. When everyone was exhausted, the sound of a churning motor could be heard in the distance. "It's a boat. A ship is coming." Everyone became nervous. "Are you here to catch them? Or just passing by?" Lukai silently took out his gun and opened the safety catch. Everyone stopped moving, sat on the boat, and looked at the direction where the motor was coming from. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 424. Soon, a large iron fishing boat with a gray appearance and red paint on the bow and cabin appeared in people's sight. As the boat slowly approached, people saw many muscular and dark-skinned crew members standing on the bow deck. In the middle, there should be a person sitting, because she only showed the part above her neck. She had a dreadlock and wore very narrow sunglasses. She should be quite old, at least over 50, with many dry wrinkles on her face, and her skin had traces of being exposed to the sun for many years, dark and covered with large freckles. The fishing boat saw them and slowly stopped. Su Jingyu saw the crew standing next to the woman wearing sunglasses, leaned over and whispered a few words in her ear. The woman nodded, then held the man's hand and stood up. She walked to the bow, raised her hand and groped, found the railing, and grabbed it. Lukai and Su Jingyu looked at each other. This woman is actually blind. Who is she? It was Sia. Sia said in English with a heavy accent, "Someone asked me to save you." "Save us?" The people on the boat licked their cracked lips and didn't believe Sia. Sia waited for a while, but didn't hear any response. Sia was a little dissatisfied. "Is my hearing not working well? I didn't hear the cheers." Someone shouted bravely, "Who knows if you are a bad guy?" Once bitten by a snake, you will be afraid of the rope for 10 years. These prisoners were really scared. And Sia had a strong pirate spirit. Definitely not a good person. And the crew members around her were all carrying weapons, single-barreled guns, machetes, crossbows that fired iron guns. Their faces clearly showed their type. They were not good people. Sia laughed a few times, and people saw that she was missing a few teeth, and the remaining teeth were inlaid with gold. After laughing, she said, "If I were a bad guy, I would have just shot you with a gun. Why would I have the time to talk nonsense with you? The people chasing you may arrive at any time. If you keep dawdling like this, haha, I can't save you." Everyone was undecided and looked at Su Jingyu. If the people on the boat were really bad guys, then they would have another fight. On the boat, at least there was fresh water to drink, which was a glimmer of hope. Su Jingyu thought for a moment and waved his hand. "Everyone, team up and get ready to get on the boat." Everyone cheered, "Get on the boat. Line up. Come one by one." The fishing boat lowered the ladder, and people helped each other get on the fishing boat. Plop, plop. As many prisoners boarded the boat one after another, the sound of falling into the water rang out in the sea. It turned out that several agile crew members jumped off the fishing boat. Afterwards, the people on the boat threw down several gasoline barrels. These people were very good at swimming. They pulled the abandoned boats together and poured a lot of gasoline on the boats. "Come here to get clothes and change clothes." A crew member was carrying a dirty rattan basket filled with all kinds of clothes. "Change all your clothes. Hurry up." Everyone picked up their clothes and gestured casually. The women went into the boat and took off their white suits. These clothes were gathered together and thrown onto the wooden boat in the sea. When the crew climbed onto the fishing boat from the sea, a torch with a blazing flame was thrown onto the empty wooden boat. The flames instantly spread along the gasoline on the boat, like a tongue of fire, quickly licking all the boats. The clothes and boats were burned clean in a short time, leaving no trace. The fishing boat turned its bow and headed northeast. "If you don't want to die of thirst, come here to get water." The person who shouted was a strong man with short hair, a beard, a mouthful of black and yellow teeth, and thick hair on his body. No one cared how rude he spoke. They were really thirsty. Each person received a bottle of 1000 ml mineral water, which should have been salted. Su Jingyu took a sip and found it was light salt water, and then drank it in big gulps. Most people showed symptoms of dehydration and almost stopped sweating. At this time, if you want to replenish water, you can't drink fresh water. You must drink water containing electrolytes. This blind old lady is quite thoughtful. Not only water, but the crew took them to the restaurant after a while. It was dirty and simple, and the iron tables were fixed to the ground. The crew brought out a mountain of black bread, cream soup with seafood, and roast chicken. The fugitives who had been frightened and starved for 2 days shook their cheeks and ate meat and bread in big mouthfuls. Su Jingyu didn't say anything. Only by filling his stomach could he have the energy to deal with the things that came later. Sia was not annoying. She waited until Su Jingyu had almost finished eating before asking the crew to call Su Jingyu to her. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 425. Su Jingyu came to the deck. "Now that I have eaten and drank enough, I feel refreshed." Sia stayed alone on the deck. She was still sitting in the previous chair, leaning on the back of the chair, with a colorful blanket on her legs. She is looking at the sea. The sea breeze blew on her old face. Su Jingyu deliberately slowed down his pace. "Hello." Su Jingyu stood in front of her. "Are you their leader?" Saya got straight to the point. Su Jingyu replied neither humble nor arrogantly, "I don't count the boss. I can only say that everyone trusts me now and only listens to my arrangements." Saya tilted her ears slightly and listened carefully to Su Jingyu's words. "Well, You speak with confidence, your breathing is steady and strong, and your steps are solid. It proves that you are in good health, Saya said. You can also speak, so you are a leader. Thank you for your affirmation, Su Jingyu. I don't know who entrusted you to come here to save us. Sia pulled the blanket covering her legs and said without clarifying, he is the one who saved you on the island. Then when can we leave? Sia smiled. I asked you to come here just to talk about this matter. You can't leave for the time being. Not only can't you leave, but you can't have any form of contact with your family and friends. Su Jingyu was stunned. Ah! Can't contact your family? At this moment, he wished he could spread his wings and fly directly to his family. This old lady actually said that he could not leave or contact his family for the time being. Su Jingyu frowned. Why? I have been out of contact for several days. The filming crew couldn't find him, and his family couldn't get in touch with him. His wife must have been worried. Humph, do you think you are safe now? Saya said in a cold voice. They have your detailed information and cannot find you. They can find your family. As long as they find you and contact them, it will be very simple. Su Jingyu clenched his back teeth tightly. I am being shallow. You can write down the message and contact information you want to bring to me. I will find the right person to help you deliver the message, Saya said. Su Jingyu walked around the gate of hell, eager to hear the voices of his wife and daughter. But everything Saya said made sense. He closed his eyes, opened them again, and regained his composure. Thank you. I will explain it to them. Saya nodded approvingly. I hope you can restrain them. In Country G, if anyone contacts the outside world without permission, I'm sorry, I can't accommodate you here. After all, I also have many family and friends to take care of. I understand, Su Jingyu said firmly. I will restrain them. Saya adjusted the blanket on her legs again. Let's go, there's nothing else to do. There are still 2 hours to go, you can go and rest for a while. Su Jingyu stood still. After a while, he asked hoarsely, then, can we still leave? Do you think I am a human trafficker? Saya snorted. It can take as little as a month, as long as half a year. However, things may change, and I can't guarantee you. As little as a month. As long as half a year. Su Jingyu saw hope. Although it's a long time. However, he did not dare to ask for more. He asked, what should I call you? Saya, just call me Saya. My name is Jingyu. Su Jingyu bowed deeply. Thank you for saving us. Saya waved her hand. Asterisk. 3 whole days. After John Killen sent a message to Chen Ling, he did not contact Chen Ling for 3 days. During the day, Chen Ling was filming. After work, she tried to find information online. Every piece of news about Country Y made her worry. When he received the call, Chen Ling had just finished shooting a few scenes and was drinking water and resting on the set. Lin Langxing ran over in a hurry. Sister Ling, phone. As a life assistant, Lin Langxing is responsible for taking care of all Chen Ling's daily life, including looking after the phone. Chen Ling specifically explained to Lin Langxing that as long as there was a phone call, he should notify him as soon as possible. Chen Ling put down the water glass, strode over, took her cell phone and took a look. The caller ID is displayed on the screen as a long series of numbers. The first few digits are add 001876. This is the international telephone dial code of Country Y. Chen Ling answered the call, took the phone and walked quickly to a remote corner outside the set. Then she heard a familiar voice coming from the receiver that had worried her for a long time. Hello. It's Brother Lan. Chen Ling's words Brother Lan reached the top of his voice and he suppressed them. Still not sure what's going on with Brother Lan, she suppressed her excitement and said in a calm tone, hello. Ling it's me. John Killen's voice came through the receiver. I'm safe now. Chen Ling did not relax his vigilance, but asked a question. What color were you wearing the day I went to your house for dinner? Dark green. John Killen's voice was gentle, and then he added, you look particularly good in what you wear. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 426. Chen Ling breathed a sigh of relief. What Brother Lan said is the correct answer. If Brother Lan gives the wrong answer, there are two possibilities. One, it is not convenient for him to speak at the moment and he is being forced and held hostage. Second, he is not John Killen. Modern AI human voice simulation technology is quite mature, it is difficult to distinguish true from false by human ears. After confirming his identity, Chen Ling asked 3 questions in quick succession. Where are you now? Who is around you? Are you injured? What John Killen just said is, I am safe now. In other words, he was not safe in the past period of time. John Killen answered one by one, I am in a residential house in the northwest of country Y. I have an Indian friend beside me. I suffered a slight injury. John Killen's voice was hoarse. Chen Ling's heart sank. John Killen is a rigorous person. If it was really a small wound, he would answer politely where and what kind of wound it was. Now I only say that I am injured, but refuse to say it clearly. Brother Lan, if you don't make it clear, I will leave for the airport now. Chen Ling said, you know, I always tell the truth. John Killen felt that the confusion, anger, confusion, fatigue, and pain of the past few days had all disappeared without a trace. Ling, it's really all minor injuries. It's just all over the body. The torso, limbs, and other places were scratched by the rocks. The little finger bone of the right hand was fractured. The tiger's mouth of the left hand was cut open. Really? John Killen held the phone tightly. It's nice to hear her voice. He imagined Chen Ling worrying about him, and an urge to see her emerged in his heart. Chen Ling, who was on the other end of the phone, finally let go of her worries. She took her mobile phone and walked a little farther away from the set. As she walked, she said, Brother Lan, I'm looking for someone to pick up those people who escaped from Golden Island. It's really you. I heard them say that they didn't find the fugitives, and they didn't find any wreckage. Even the traces of more than 30 ships were gone. John Killen guessed that someone might have rescued these poor people. In the text message, he did mention this matter to Chen Ling, but he did not ask her to do anything. Because she is thousands of miles away and beyond reach. Asking her for help is really too much. Unexpectedly, she actually has a way. I didn't save them. I asked someone to help me, that gypsy Aunt Saya from country G whom I mentioned to you. Chen Ling simply stated, I asked Saya to watch them and not contact the outside world for the time being. They are currently hiding in a mine in country G. I asked Sia to trick those people, but they didn't know much. Brother Lan, what have you experienced on this trip? And Nolan, how is he? Is he still alive? John Killen dared to call him so confidently and boldly, which meant that Nolan must not be with him. Nolan, John Killen repeated, it turns out his name is Nolan. Nolan Lampson. He used to be my vice team captain. He is now the captain. Chen Ling said, it is also his credit that your mother was able to successfully return to China. It's actually him. John Killen was quite surprised. I will definitely thank him properly the next time we meet. Where are the others? Nolan was picked up by his master. John Killen said, his mission in country Y this time was purely accidental. His master learned that his mission was not completed and immediately sent a ship to take him back to the country. Master, Amos. Let me think about where to start. John Killen thought for a moment. From the moment I set foot on country Y, I realized that I was being followed. John Killen briefly and concisely highlighted the key points: how he went to the No Way Out bar, how he met Yukari Kasai, how Nolan stepped in to save him, and invited him to go to the Golden Island together. How the two arranged their plans, acted separately, etc. They kept talking until they got on the luxury yacht. After arriving in the room, he actually asked me, "How did you meet Chen Ling?" Chen Ling was surprised. Then, she immediately reacted, "Did the toy I gave you have a flaw?" "Yes," John Killen said, "he said he gave you a box of unmarked Swiss Army knives." "Brother Lan, how did you answer him?" "I said we met by chance in the MH war zone." "Smart," Chen Ling praised. "Did he tell you what he saw in the Red House?" "I told you." John Killen's voice was a little hoarse. He picked up the cup to moisten his throat and continued, "Say, he said he saw 3 people worshipping a gold sculpture, and the sculpture was engraved with the emblem of the United Freemasons." Chen Ling narrowed his eyes. "Behind the Golden Island is indeed the United Freemasonry." "Then, what did he do?" Chen Ling asked. John Killen drank all the water in the cup and pursed his lips. "The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 427. The badge is made of gold with exquisite craftsmanship. The eyes are made of sapphires, and the number is engraved on the back, I-1981-03-06, John Killen described seriously. "This Nolan is really good at picking things up. To be able to pick up such an important badge." Chen Ling vaguely guessed why they were so embarrassed later. The owner of the badge is probably looking for it everywhere. John Killen was keenly aware that Chen Ling's breathing had become tighter. Is this badge really that important? Important, extremely important. Although Chen Ling was eager to hear what was going on, she still explained the importance of the badge to John Killen seriously. "Don't underestimate this badge. Every member of the union will have a badge in his life. Don't report the loss, don't replace it, recognize the badge but not the person. Owning this badge is like joining the union. Same. Having this badge is equivalent to having the power to make changes, countless money, and even to a certain extent, the ability to subvert a certain regime." John Killen's expression became serious. He knew this badge was important, but he never expected it to be so important. Recognize the badge but not the person. John Killen thought this rule was too weird. He couldn't help but question, what if someone wants to snatch the badge? "Of course this kind of thing has happened," Chen Ling smiled sarcastically, "not to mention those who were robbed by outsiders. For this badge, there are countless cases of patricide, murder of relatives, and turning against each other. The ridiculous thing is that the Freemasons know all this and encourage this competition. Also, one good thing about this is that Masons try to keep their membership a secret." John Killen was a little confused. Why would the Hedgie Association do this? Isn't it good to increase one's reputation? "Brother Lan, the Hedgie Society wants to hide in the dark and stir up trouble. Just like the pattern on the badge, one eye secretly peeks at everything in the world. If everyone knew about it, Freemasonry would lose its mystique. At the same time, it will also make other forces more alert. But in fact, the upper-class dignitaries all regard joining the Freemasonry as an honor, and even eager to publicize it to show how noble their status is. Imagine that if a noble joins the Freemasonry, he will definitely publicize it, and his family will also show this honor to other nobles. The United Freemasonry Association uses a method of recognizing badges but not people to fundamentally put an end to the behavior of members showing off everywhere. Brother Lan, you have to think about the value and rationality of this matter from the perspective of the Union." John Killen then imagined that he was in the powerful class of the United Freemasonry. He had an epiphany. Recognizing the badge but not the person is also a screening behavior. If you can't even protect your own badge, you really are not worthy of staying in the United Freemasonry. Members must strictly keep confidentiality and carefully protect their badges. Under such circumstances, the person who can still steal the badge is definitely an ordinary person. The Freemasonry needs such ruthless and cunning people. Chen Ling said, that's what it means. Therefore, if you can leave your badge outdoors, this member, the United Financial Aid Society, is eager to eliminate it as soon as possible. After a pause, Chen Ling asked, by the way, Brother Lan, where did the badge that Nolan picked up go? John Killen felt that his pocket was now heavy. He pursed his lips and said, here I am. Before Nolan left, he stuffed this fatal badge into his pocket. There was no chance for John Killen to refuse. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 428. This time it was really beyond Chen Ling's expectation. Why are you at your place? I don't know, Nolan stuffed it into my pocket before leaving. How could I take it out and push him in front of so many people? When Chen Ling found the badge of the Unionist Association, he really tried his best to forge or steal a badge. But when she thought about how strictly this badge would be guarded and protected, and that it must have special anti-theft and anti-counterfeiting signs, she gave up. Unexpectedly, it took no effort at all. Brother Lan, do you know who the owner of the badge is? I know. Just listen to me and continue. John Killen calmed down and continued. The man with light blonde hair searched the entire ship's third-class cabins, second-class cabins, and public areas, but could not find the badge. It is estimated that losing the badge is too serious and he cannot bear it. So he went to first class and started searching door to door. There were 2 rooms, but he didn't break into them. It should be the house of a member of the Freemasonry. John Killen and Nolan heard a fierce quarrel on the roof. People on this floor opened their doors one after another and went to the upper floor to watch the excitement. The 2 of them naturally followed up to take a look. I was very curious to begin with, and if I didn't look at it now, it seemed like a guilty conscience. The man with light yellow hair was arguing with Yukarika-sai. John Killen listened for a while and understood. The blonde-haired man wanted to search Yukarika-sai's room, but he hit a wall. The 2 sides reached a stalemate. The light blonde man yelled, "Don't be so shameless, I was polite before because of your father's sake," the light blonde man yelled. "You don't have to look at my father's face. When I go out to do things, everyone looks at my face. You lowly neon woman, are you talking about face in front of me? Do you know my identity? Huh? You are pretending to be a noble person in front of me. Your identity," Yukarika-sai smiled sweetly. She held up the hem of her Lolita skirt, walked around the buff man, and said in a sweet tone, "Aren't you the famous good-for-nothing son of the Duke of Leinster, Jim?" The fair-haired man Jim Leinster's face instantly turned as red as pig liver. He almost gritted his teeth and said, "You bitch, I can execute you right now. You actually committed the following crime." "Ha ha," Yukarika-sai sneered, like a venomous snake spitting out snake nods, "is the next one guilty? We are on equal footing now. If you think you are higher than me, please provide evidence." Jim Leinster's face suddenly turned pale. The proof is the Masonic emblem. However, he lost his badge. He didn't tell anyone about losing the badge. How did this woman find out? Wrong. She must have taken her badge away. "Bitch, you must have stolen it. Give me the badge back," Jim Leinster was furious. The existence of badges was even revealed. "Idiot." Yukarika-sai rolled her eyes. She played with the lace parasol in her hand, with cold eyes. "I am a lowly woman, and it is useless to take your things. The Freemasonry does not allow women to join." Jim Leinster looked crazy. "Who knows what you are worried about? Maybe you can take it home and give it to your cousins." This sentence successfully touched the sore spot of Yukarika-sai. She has been the pride of heaven since she was born. In terms of intelligence, she is the smartest person in the Kasai family. She can learn everything quickly, and she can be the best after learning it. In terms of skill, she managed the Kasai family to a very obedient manner, and no one dared to say a word to her. When it comes to understanding and employing people, she has raised a group of dead warriors and ninjas, all of whom are competing to work for her. However, she is a woman. Women cannot join the Freemasonry. This means that she will never be able to climb to the top of power. The quota in the United Freemasonry can only be used to benefit my useless cousins. At this moment, Jim Leinster, this idiot, lost his badge and dared to say that he stole it and gave it to his cousins. She grimaced, opened her umbrella, and turned to the tall man standing behind her and said, "Hirao-kun, kill him." Jim Leinster pointed to his nose in disbelief. "I, the son of the great Duke of Leinster in England. The future Duke, how dare you be so presumptuous? And you want to kill me?" Hirao-kun didn't even give him a chance to finish his words. He stepped forward quickly, pulled out the slender and sharp neon knife, and slashed at Jim Leinster with lightning speed. Jim Leinster was stunned. He never expected that the other party would actually play it real. He stood there, too frightened to move. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 429. When the blade struck the barrel of a rifle, sparks flew everywhere. It was Jim Leinster's men who blocked the blow just in time. Jim's heart began to beat wildly. He pointed at Kasai's nose and shouted, "Kill this bitch." A group of big men in black men surrounded Kasai aggressively. "Your father really prefers you, and has arranged so many good people for you." A loser Yukari Kasai showed no fear, and still tried her best to be sarcastic, "But has your father ever considered that you will always be alone? At that time, who can you rely on?" "I'm not useless," Jim growled. He actually has a certain judgment about himself in his heart. Among ordinary people, he is considered outstanding. But in the elite world, he is indeed at the bottom. However, he has refused to face it. His parents refused to face it either. "I have been working hard to cultivate him, pampering him, and deceiving myself to comfort myself. This child is a late bloomer." There was a voice deep inside Jim Leinster, reminding him day and night, "You are a piece of trash. 100 years later, it will be buried in the ground and it will still be a waste." Now, how could he accept it when Yukari Kasai had his fig leaf ripped off in public? Jim shouted frantically, "Kill her, kill her. I want the whole ship to be buried with her." At this time, in the middle of the corridor, a door opened. After Leinster came to this floor and began to search the guest rooms, he bypassed 2 rooms. And these 2 rooms, no matter how lively they are outside, have never opened their doors. At this moment, a room door opened. A tall figure walked out. The frantic Leinster suddenly calmed down. It was a woman with silver white hair, about 1.9 meters tall, wearing a long black windbreaker, exposing her long legs, and wearing silver string high-heeled shoes. She wore a silver mask and had cold green eyes. The door behind her was not closed tightly. A 3-finger-wide gap was exposed. "Why didn't you speak?" she looked at Leinster. Leinster were completely mute. After he saw this tall silver-haired woman, all his boiling anger was extinguished. At the same time, a deep fear gripped his heart. Did he tell the story about the badge at the instigation of Yukari Kasai? This is one of the Masonic top secrets. It's over, it's really over this time. He could hardly breathe. But on one side of his face, he saw Yukari Kasai. Her lips under the half-mask only raised one side, full of sarcasm. Seeing Leinster looking towards him, Kasai gestured to him with the middle finger of his right hand. Leinster's fears suddenly disappeared. He glanced at the corridor inadvertently. There were people watching everywhere. The thread in my brain was completely broken. They are all watching themselves make a fool of themselves. Let's die together. Yukari Kasai is right about one thing. Leinster Jim is indeed a piece of trash. And he's still a loser who can't handle things. Anger reignited. If that's the case, let's perish together. Just because he lost his badge, it was already a capital crime for him. Not to mention he also spilled the beans about the badge. Crazy Leinster grabbed a rifle from his bodyguard. He started shooting wildly in the direction of Yukari Kasai. Bang bang bang. Fafa failed. Yukari Kasai reacted very quickly. When she saw him grabbing the bodyguard's gun, she retreated into the room, waited for him to aim at her, and kicked the door shut with her foot. Half of the bullets hit the door. As expected of a top-class cruise ship, the doors and windows are made of unusual materials. The bullet did not penetrate the door, but left messy black bullet burn marks. Die, die, let's all die, Jim grabbed the gun with all his strength and shouted while shooting. Jim Leinster gasped for air and put down his gun. His arms were numb from the huge recoil. The corridor smelled of gunpowder smoke. Kasai Yukari suddenly opened the door. Trash, not a single shot hit, Kasai stuck out his tongue. Before Jim could raise his gun, she retreated back into the room. Jim Leinster was furious. People are absolutely afraid of the sound of bullets. Especially those who have just experienced an island armed force invasion incident. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 430. John Killen and Nolan were watching the farce at the end of the corridor. After seeing Leinster grab the gun, John Killen pulled Nolan and said, "Let's go." The two of them had just walked down 2 or 3 steps when they heard the sound of machine gun fire. Ah! Screams rang out one after another. The whole yacht was in chaos. Criminals have sneaked into the yacht. Murder. Don't panic, don't panic. It's just a quarrel. The crew and waiters shouted weakly in the crowd running in panic. John Killen suddenly shouted. They asked us to get on the boat so that we could gather together and kill them together. The boat is about to explode. His voice came from under the bronze mask, and it was still a very honest voice. Very loud. If he hadn't been standing close, Nolan couldn't believe that this honest voice, like a 200-pound fat man, was made by John Killen. Shocked, Nolan whispered, "Brother, what are you doing? Don't you want to go to the collection room of the auction items?" Nolan was surprised. "You said, they moved the auction items to the ship? Did you see it? Why didn't I see it?" John Killen thought, no wonder Cheng Ling can be the captain. If it was Cheng Ling, she would never have to explain it herself. No, if it was Cheng Ling, she should have found a way to get into the collection room. The surroundings were noisy. John Killen had to pull Nolan, trying to get close to his ears and control the volume that only 2 people could hear, and said, "Most of the elites of Golden Island have boarded the ship with the guests." Someone screamed and rushed past, regardless of squeezing through the 2 people. John Killen had no choice but to point upwards, meaning to go up. The 2 were pushed by the crowd and went up against the flow of people. Finally, the 2 of them got closer again, and John Killen continued, "If you are the owner of the auction item, would you feel safe to leave your valuables on the island? And this island has just experienced power failures, explosions, shootings, and other incidents." Nolan was stunned, and then he also shouted, "The time bomb will explode in 10 minutes. Hurry up and jump off the boat to escape." People ran in the corridor more frantically. "Don't panic. That's a rumor. Guests, there is no bomb. There is no terrorist attack. It's just a quarrel between the guests." Stop, don't squeeze. The crew and waiters shouted at the top of their lungs. However, panic is contagious. At this moment, the crew and the staff of Golden Island are all accomplices of the terrorists. Their words are not credible. The crowd screamed, crowded, and ran, which further stimulated Leinster's nerves. Ignoring the bodyguard's obstruction, he raised his gun hard and wanted to continue shooting at the crowd. However, his neck suddenly felt a sharp pain. The silver-haired woman, at some point, came behind Leinster, her right elbow buckled around his neck, her right hand on her left upper arm. It was a naked choke. Leinster was strangled and began to roll his eyes. His bodyguards had never expected this woman to suddenly kill him. "If you get close, your master will die," the silver-haired woman said coldly. The bodyguards looked at each other. They were afraid of the consequences and wanted to save their master, but they had no idea where to start. They could only watch her drag her master to the room she came out of. The door was closed. At this time, the entire luxury yacht was in chaos. The people on the deck were making phone calls, some untied the ropes of the lifeboat, and some simply jumped into the water with a safety swimming ring around their waists. One person jumped into the sea. More people jumped into the sea. People were like frightened birds. They didn't even notice that the gunshots had stopped at some point. Just as people gradually regained their composure, a gunshot rang out from nowhere. Bang! The bullet hit the head of the first person who jumped into the sea. The red and white brain and blood burst out instantly. John Killen and Nolan stopped at the same time when they heard the gunshot. Is this the sound of a sniper rifle? Ah, someone is killed. Bang! Another shot. This person's shooting skills were extremely accurate, and the second person was also shot in the head.